The expectations for the 2023 dunk contest were relatively low. The event has lost some of its appeal over the last few years, as less and less stars participate and more attempts are used on each dunk. So with this year's roster being KJ Martin, Jericho Sims, Trey Murphy, and Mac McClung, people weren't exactly thrilled heading in. However, this year's dunk contest was easily one of the best ones in years, a large part of that being due to Mac McClung, who was in the G League only a week ago. He's only played in 2 NBA games. Yet he was the star of the show, with every dunk being a 50. One was technically a 49.8 due to a horrible judgment by Lisa Leslie, but oh well. However, it wasn't just McClung. The contest was very competitive and seemingly all 4 contestants brought something interesting. Mac McClung saved the dunk contest, and thanks to all the contestants, it finally felt fun again. To get an understanding of how good this year's contest was, let's go over each contestant going from least impressive to most impressive. Before we get into the dunks, if you enjoy my content and have watched a few videos of mine, think about subscribing, especially since there's no chance this video will be monetized because of the highlights. 96% of my viewers are actually not subscribed, so if you watched me before and enjoy the content, drop a sub and comment down below. It really helps the channel. Let's start with Knicks big man Jericho Sims. He might have the most impressive vertical out of the contestants. The guy can really jump out of the gym. His first dunk was an attempt at the double elbow slam. He got his right elbow in the rim, but only really his left wrist, which kinda hurt the score. However, he was still looking down into the rim before he threw it down, showing off the vertical, so he got a 47.6 for the first dunk. It was the second best score for the first dunks and set him up well. However, I and many others were pretty disappointed by the second dunk. He pinned an envelope to the net and did a dunk where he stuck his whole arm into the rim, very reminiscent though of the first dunk he did. He then opened the letter and showed that it said 50, which the dunk obviously didn't deserve, so it just felt really corny. Somehow, it got a better score than the first dunk he did with a 47.8. He's a phenomenal athlete, but will likely be remembered as the night's weakest contestant. Next, let's talk about KJ Martin. The announcers were clowning his lob throwers on both rounds, and I saw some people complain about that, especially with Jae'Sean Tate, but I thought it was kind of fair. His first dunk took 3 attempts, which was mostly because of bad lobs from Tate on the first 2. Martin ran baseline, caught the lob, and threw down a reverse slam. He was given a score of 46.0, likely only because it took multiple attempts. It did look pretty impressive. His second dunk had some cool theatrics that I liked. He brought out his dad, Kenyon Martin, to throw out the lob and used a 3D printed basketball. It was at least unique. He caught the lob off the backboard and threw down a reverse double clutch slam. It was given a score of 47.2. He had the lowest total score on the night, but he was in my opinion unquestionably more impressive than Sims. Now let's get into the finalists. The contest runner-up was Pelicans wing Trey Murphy III. He was the one to open the competition and actually did it really creatively. He had his teammate Jose Alvarado sneak up behind him and steal the ball, which is what he's known for, and then throw him the lob off the glass. He was given a 46.6, which I thought was too low because of the creativity on it. He needed a great second dunk to make the finals, and he delivered. He brought out a spinning triple clutch slam, where he brought the ball behind his head all the way down to his feet, and then back up for the slam. The crowd loved it, and he was given a 49.4, more than good enough to send him to the finals. In the finals he did well, but couldn't overcome the heroics of McClung. His first finals dunk was his coolest of the contest to me. He threw a between the legs lob to himself, caught it before it hit anything, and then threw down a windmill dunk off of it. You see players throw lobs off the glass or off the floor, but almost never up in the air to catch. He was given a 48.8, which I think was likely a little too low. I honestly wouldn't have minded a 50. His last dunk was a little disappointing because of the 2 really good ones before it. It was a more simple reverse windmill, which is impressive, but we've seen it done before many times. It also looked like it was trying to be like Vince Carter, but just wasn't quite at the same level. He got a 49.2 on that dunk to keep the pressure high on Mac, but ultimately would get second. Now let's shift to the star of the show, the newest 76er, Mac McClung. He started out the contest with one of the cooler dunk contest slams in the last decade, and one we'd never seen before. He had 2 people stacked on top of one another, with the person on top holding the ball. He then proceeded to jump over both of them, tap the ball off the glass, and throw down a reverse clutch slam. Easy 50. His next dunk was one to show off the incredible athleticism he possesses. He took a quick run up to the rim and threw down a 180 reverse windmill with two hands, to which Judge Jamal Crawford responded by holding up two 50 signs. He would be given a 49.8 on that dunk because Lisa Leslie was the one judge to give him a 49. It was absolutely awful, should have been a perfect contest for him. He kept his level just as high in the finals. For his third dunk, he jumped over someone holding the ball, turned with his back facing the basket, and performed a hesitation clutch slam, which had Reggie Miller losing his mind. He was given another 50. Yet due to Murphy's high score on the second dunk, McClung still had some pressure. He delivered. He performed a 540 reverse slam to seal the deal, with the classic "It's over, ladies and gentlemen" coming from Kenny Smith. He was immediately rushed by the league's top players and fans on the sideline, as they knew it was over too. The announcers went crazy, saying welcome to the NBA, saying he wouldn't be going back down to the G League, and even going as far as saying that a superstar had been born for the next 48 hours. The best part, he said he'd come back next year. Who would have guessed the man to save the dunk contest would be an unassuming 6'2" white guy? Thanks for watching. I'm Herm. Have a good one.